You've got to understand what is already going on, not just in terms of that a product exists, but how are they trying to sell it? What messaging are they trying to use? Who are they trying to sell it to? The internet has made it easier than ever to start a business. Succeeding on the internet, now that's another story. The big question is, what are those who are succeeding doing differently? This podcast has the answers. Hi, my name is Lisanne Murphy. I've spent the last 3 years running a successful advertising agency. I noticed with certain clients, I ran into the same problem over and over again. Their offering was just not grabbing the prospect's heart and wrestling them into purchasing submission. Why? Many of these business owners were so far down the road in their journey and so in love with their product, they forgot who they were serving, missing some essential steps along the way. So, I'm pivoting focus. Join me as I go behind the scenes with the most brilliant entrepreneur minds to demystify the nitty-gritty marketing hacks needed to be successful before spending thousands on advertising that ultimately separate the internet legends from the dreamers. On the previous episode, you heard from Lauren Golden. In her deep dive episode, she went into awesome detail about her journey as an entrepreneur and focused on how she has built a community from one, herself, to 27,000 other women who she affectionately calls her free mamas, who are working to create financial and time freedom for themselves and for their families. It is truly inspiring. But while I've got you, stick around because I'm going to talk about part 5 of our 6-part series on dream traffic. In this episode, I'm going into detail on what I call competition graphics, which has everything to do with understanding and pulling customers from the red ocean of your competitors to your new opportunity. It's going to be seriously awesome, so keep listening to get the scoop. Welcome to the Marketing Matrix podcast. I'm your host, Lisanne Murphy, and I've got a solo episode today that is all about what I call dream traffic. Now, dream traffic is a process designed to get into the mind of your customer so that you can offer your product or service, creating an easy sale without hitting objections. It's like you read their mind. You get in there and they're like, whoa, this person understands me. When people feel understood, they purchase. Now, this is a new term that most people that I've talked to, they don't know what it's about. So I want to tell you about how I discovered it. You see, in my Facebook advertising agency, I have 2 types of clients. Those that soar and scale really easily to success, 7 figures. I had multiple clients do that last year. And then those that just hit ceilings and have a really, really hard time scaling and making sure that their products and services are working profitably with Facebook ads. So after helping those few companies cross the 7-figure mark in their business, and after spending over $500,000 in ad spend last year alone, I saw one major pattern. You see, those businesses that understood who they were speaking to on a deep psychological and behavioral level, matched their messaging to that who, essentially win. And by win, I mean have low cost to acquire a client, greater margins on their sales, better customers, high lifetime value for clients, more joy and fulfillment, and ultimately a thriving business where they can be successful with organic and paid strategies. Without understanding the who of your business is like trying to drive a square peg through a round hole. It's intensely frustrating and it really simply just won't work. So what is this dream traffic process? Well, I like to call it my 3D process. We are going to literally bring dimension to your dream customer to create dream traffic for yourself. The 3Ds are define, discover, and drive. Okay, we've got to define your who, discover where they are hanging out online, and decide how to drive them to your product or offering. In today's podcast, we're diving into one of the major aspects of the first D of the 3D model, define, and that's what the last several solo episodes have been about. There are 6 major graphics to consider in the definition component of the 3D model. In the last 4 solo episodes, I dove deep into the first 4 graphics. The first one we dove into was demographics, the next was psychographics, the next was behavioral graphics, and then offer graphics. And by the end of today's podcast, you're going to have a deeper understanding of that next graphic, which is competitor graphics. Okay, so let's do this thing. Competitor graphics are all about understanding how people selling similar services, your competitors, are positioning themselves in the market. Now, why is this so important? I mean, shouldn't you just stay in your own lane? Well, see, everybody knows they need to carve out a new area of the market to really make your product stand out. You call it a unique value proposition or unique selling proposition. But what most don't consider is that staying close enough to the red ocean that your competitors creates a mental bridge from the old way of thinking to the new way of thinking for your prospective customer. So the old way of thinking is your competitors. The new way of thinking is the product or service that you're offering. And by staying close enough to that ocean that your competitors have created, you're literally creating a mental bridge. This mental bridge is incredibly important because if your prospective customer cannot build the mental bridge, then they won't see a need for your product. It'll be too far away from the solutions that they're trying to get currently. So here's a really interesting example that I saw of this as I was searching online the other day. Did you know that a man named Rene Descartes had the idea for contact lenses? Now, contact lenses, I want you to think what year do you think contact lenses were invented? All right, probably sometime. I mean, I remember my aunt in the late 80s wearing glass, actual hard contact lenses, right? So it had to be not much earlier than that. Okay, well, this guy, Descartes, had the idea for contact lenses in 1632. Guys, that's around the same time that the Massachusetts Bay Colony was founded and popcorn was introduced to Europeans in North America. Okay? Now, I don't want to get away with history, but the point is that this wasn't a bad idea. There are millions and millions, if not billions of dollars spent on contact lenses a year today. But in 1632, it was just too far from people's conception of what could be possible and what results a solution like this could provide. Okay? So, again, oftentimes when we're thinking about our products, if they're not successful, it's often not that it's a bad idea, but it could be, are we not positioning it close enough to the competitors so that people actually understand what it is that we're trying to sell and communicate with them? So, what matters when it comes to competitor graphics? There are 4 things to really consider here. First is the competitors themselves. What are similar products and services that exist in the marketplace? Okay, so that's the question you need to ask yourself. When you're looking at competitors, what are similar products or services to yours that already exist in the marketplace? Okay, you've got to understand what is already going on, not just in terms of that a product exists, but how are they trying to sell it? What messaging are they trying to use? Who are they trying to sell it to? Okay, the next thing you have to consider is gurus. Okay, who is promoting the benefits of what your product or service offers? So this has to do a lot with the results, right? We're not just selling a product, we're selling results, right? So gurus will often promote certain benefits of certain ideas. These gurus drive the beliefs, and beliefs are what drive decisions. So who in the marketplace is driving those beliefs? Okay, you have to know who are the influencers in the market that you're selling in that are creating the beliefs, and what are those beliefs that your prospective customer are buying into. Okay, the next is compliments. All right, compliments. The question you ask here is, what products or services boost the effectiveness of your product or service in the marketplace? This is really important because it's supporting, understanding what supporting products are there, which creates good opportunities for joint ventures for you, as well as integrative marketing techniques. And what I mean for that is integrative marketing techniques are where you can position your product at the point of sale or at some point in the selling process of a competitor. For example, I've talked about this in previous episode, but if you're selling water tanks, right? If I was the person marketing Solo cups, I probably would want to position my Solo cups next to every single water cooler manufacturer, because if you are using a water cooler, you're also going to need cups. All right, so what are the complements in your marketplace? This creates selling opportunities for you and also helps you know how you can partner with these people. And then the last thing is messaging. What angles are they using? Okay, so I would argue that when you're first starting, that you need to stay closer to the competition than you think. Now, we always talk about the need to be different. You have to carve out a new space. You need to create a blue ocean, right? Which is all true. But again, think about our friend Descartes up above with the contact lenses. If we're too far away from the competition, then people won't recognize the importance of our product or service. So look at your competition and see what angles they are using and mimic them. See if you can get the same success and carve out a piece of the pie with copying some of that messaging. And of course, like not plagiarizing copying, but mimic it. Get close to it. Model after it. That's the word I'm looking for. Model it. But recognize that the bigger your company gets, the more you're going to need to differentiate yourself, and the more you're going to need to move away from the competitive red ocean and draw your customers with you. It's important to remember when we think about competition that imitation is how all humans learn. It's also the greatest form of flattery and success for many. So don't be afraid to look at your competition and model what they've done. They've spent thousands of dollars on market research to figure out what works. So use their marketing dollars to your advantage and follow some of the tactics that they're using. Okay? So being a category king, standing alone in a blue ocean you created is absolutely the goal. But it's something you have to work towards. You need to start in more of a pink or purple ocean, right? Between the red ocean and the blue ocean. All right, guys. So again, for those 4 pieces, you have to understand your competitors. What are similar products or services that exist in the marketplace? The gurus, who is promoting the benefits of what your product or service offers, who's driving their beliefs. 3, complements, what products or services boost the effectiveness of yours in the marketplace. And 4, messaging, what angles are they using? Okay? Now, this is way more in depth than most people consider, but it is super, super important. So, and recognize that this is the 5th of 6 graphics. So this is just one of the aspects, one of the facets of the dream traffic that we're talking about. In my next solo episode, we're going to go over the next graphic, the final graphic, which is archetype, customer archetype graphics, which has everything to do with understanding the segments of your customers that you are dealing with and speaking to. I'm super stoked to deliver big time on this piece, so make sure to tune in when it releases in a couple weeks. By the way, we're continuing to add to the Marketing Matrix toolbox. It has tons of free marketing resources that are gathered from our podcast guests, and I've got some treats in there as well. It is updated weekly and it is available to you for free. Okay, so go to toolbox.themarketingmatrixpodcast.com to get instant access today. Okay, guys, the tools in there range from a design toolbox from Catherine Jones, to the marketing trifecta from Alex Elliott, to a incredible video from Kevin Steven, and a great resource from Chantel Turner, and so many more, guys. I mean, I could go on about this piece alone for hours. You can also join the Marketing Matrix conversations over in my Facebook group. The group is called Facebook Ads for Coaches, Course Creators, and Lifestyle Brands. And the URL is www.facebook.com/groups/FBAdNinjas. All right, guys, it is so good to talk with you, and I have loved just sharing everything with you. So thanks so much for tuning in and learning about Dream Traffic. And until the next time on the Marketing Matrix. Thank you for tuning into the Marketing Matrix podcast. On our next episode, we hear from Cree Gentile. Cree is a branding expert who helps businesses create and promote a brand that truly stands out. We are super excited to welcome her back to the show. And while I've got you, I wanted to remind you about the Marketing Matrix Toolbox. This resource, as you know, has tons of free marketing tools to make your journey easier, and we add to it each week. Think about that, guys. I mean, this is a free resource where new content is added on a weekly basis. Like, where else can you find that sort of thing? Check it out and register for instant access at toolbox.themarketingmatrixpodcast.com. And if you want to join the conversations about marketing, check out my free Facebook group. It's called Facebook Ads for Coaches, Course Creators, and Lifestyle Brands. This group is awesome. It's a community where people are trying to master their ad game so they can skyrocket their sales and scale their business while saving time. You can join that free group at www.facebook.com/groups/FBAdNinjas. Yes, we are ad ninjas in that group where we are doing stealth techniques to just crush our ads. All right, guys, that's it for now. See you next time on The Marketing Matrix.